Are you searching for a deeper purpose in your life? Well, look no further. In this video, we will be looking at how charitable giving can actually lead you to a deeper inner purpose and lead you to have a life rich with meaning. Hi, it's Dr. Joanna Ray from Soul, where we talk about soulful and sustainable living. So what exactly is charitable giving? It is actually the voluntary act of donating time, money, and other forms of assistance to organizations, individuals, and causes. It is driven by the sense of compassion and empathy, as well as the desire to make a positive impact on the community, society, and the world at large. Charitable giving can take many forms. It can be a monetary donation, which is something that the organization will need to run, or it could be some kind of in-kind donation, maybe some kind of skills-based donation. Also, it could be something like a physical donation of goods that the organization needs. It could also be volunteering, the actual labor of some kind of, working at a booth or tree planting. It could also be fundraising, so to actually create or maintain or share fundraising campaigns and promote those fundraising campaigns for the organization. Now, a couple of the less common ways could also be legacy giving. This could be something that is written into your will, where you provide a part of your estate to your charitable foundations or charitable causes. And there could be microfinance. I know some of the organizations which I support also have small loans which they give to entrepreneurs, and I back those micro loans. And another form which corporates are involved in could be something like CSR, corporate social responsibility. And a lot of the subcategories which I've already mentioned could also form part of CSR, but CSR could also be something where the corporation actually partners and collaborates with the cause, individual, or organization to do some kind of project for society. So there are many motivations for charitable giving, and it could be something for your personal values. If you value actually giving back to the community, that sense of building community and providing something to the community that is of need, it makes you really feel really like you're contributing to something. And some religions also have a component of charitable giving in their tenets, and it could also be something that is related to like a timely manner, for example an earthquake or a fire or some kind of disaster in which we try to come together to help those people in need. And I just want to mention that although the person receiving the charitable giving or the organization receiving and then benefiting to individuals, or could be the animals or the environment or whoever it may be that is the tenets of those causes, they actually, the person giving actually does receive something in return, which is more of an emotional and sense of well-being and a sense of contribution. And I know for me this is something that really is a key component to my lifestyle, and it has made my life more fulfilling. It often leads to, like I said, a sense of fulfillment, a feeling of contributing to something larger than himself, something that is like a legacy that you can leave behind, and actually making a difference to your community or society or the environment or the world at large. So how can we integrate charitable living into our lives? It is actually something that if you can, you want to incorporate, into kind of random acts of kindness. It could also be something a little bit more strategic that you put into some things that you do daily or monthly or, seasonally, depending on what the situation is. It could be something like contributing to food drives during certain seasons, such as holiday time, and like I mentioned before, disasters, giving to emergency situations to help those people in need. It can also be something a little bit more strategic, where you look at what are your values and how can you give to charities or causes which support those values. So for example, for me, I highly value animals and the environment. I do contribute heavily to both my time, my skills, both fundraising and monetarily. to organizations which help animals. So if you have something like that, which you are, maybe you had a family member pass away of cancer, or a cancer survivor, maybe you support, cancer associations and such. Or if you have a child in your life who is autistic, you might support the autism societies in your communities. So it is something which, if you have that, cause in your life, you may feel more aligned with that cause, and thereby giving it greater meaning to yourself when you contribute by, whether it be money, time, skills, resources, or whatever support that you want to give. It's actually helping that organization and supporting your own values. So once you've identified some kind of cause that aligns with your values or your purpose, next you want to try to start the habit of contributing regularly. And I would suggest start small. Do something like a small financial contribution on a monthly basis, or a time commitment, maybe 1 or 2 hours a week, something that you can do. I know when I was in college, I did a monthly contribution for my time to the local humane society, where I helped to walk dogs and clean the pens, and it was something that I really enjoyed. But it is something that, it really got me on the progression of charitable giving at that age when I was in college. And as of now, I have more money. I can devote part of my income to charitable giving. I have other skills such as fundraising and doing social media that I try to do in some small part for the organizations which I help in terms of animal charities. So just start small and see how it makes you feel. And as you get that, positive feedback on, if it feels good, you're going to want to do it more. And it's going to be something that you actually find enjoyment from in your life. And the next thing I would like to recommend is try to volunteer your time. Organizations do need money to operate, but a lot of times they do need people. And for example, playing with the dogs, or volunteering at a booth, or helping to maintain a charity shop, like a secondhand shop. Those are all things which are very time intensive, and they might not have the staff to run those initiatives, or they just might not have the time with the staff that they have. And by volunteering your time, you could be helping them to do something that they don't have the capacity to do so at their current bandwidth. That's one of the reasons why volunteering your time and skills are so valuable, because they don't have to purchase those skills or pay for people to do those things. And the added benefit of volunteering your time is that you actually get to have direct contact maybe with the people or the animals or the cause that you are helping. So doing a tree planting and getting your feet dirty really has a different impact on you versus giving just $25 to have a tree planted for you. I've done several tree plantings, and I always get an immense sense of fulfillment from planting those trees and saying, today I planted 10 trees. So that actual direct impact of your contribution of time and effort is something that is very valuable. And of course, the concept of donating things that you no longer need. This could include the donation of items, both in terms of items that you no longer need and in terms of items that the organization needs. So first I'll talk about the things that you no longer need. A lot of organizations have secondhand resale shops, or they sell objects online, and they use your donated item so that they don't have to go out and purchase an item, but then they will resell your item and use that money to help with their operations. The other type of donating of goods could be something that is on that organization's wish list, and this could be something, for in the case of an animal charity, it could be puppy food, pee pads, medication, and so on. And instead of just donating money, you can actually donate those items. And I've done this for different organizations where I actually sent the donated items, purchased and sent them directly to the organization. Okay, and once you get a little bit more set in your charitable giving habits, I would suggest setting up a giving plan, and this could be something like a monthly donation where you do support the organization, whether it be your time or monetarily or resources that they need, and just setting up a plan and writing it down and say, this is what I do, this is part of who I am, this is part of my budget. If it's a monetary contribution, whether it be money straight out or resources that you buy for them, and time commitments. Definitely put those time commitments in your calendar and say, make a reminder, I need to do this month and pay my monthly dog food sponsorship. Or I would like to make a contribution to managing their social media account and block out the time for that. Obviously, appeals on various sites might get you, emergency disasters might get your heart, and then you actually donate something out of the ordinary, but it is more likely that you will contribute to something regularly if you put it in your calendar or set it in your reminder. And get your family involved. There are so many ways that you can get your family and friends involved. It doesn't have to be just by fundraising. It could be sharing things on your social media. It could get someone to go to an event which is promoting that cause. It could be inviting people to be a runner or working at a booth. But the more people you can get involved, the more impact, and you can spread awareness about that cause. And who knows, that person actually might get involved in that cause at a deeper level themselves. So, and the next one is to celebrate birthdays and milestones with fundraisers or asking for donations for your charitable cause rather than asking for gifts or receiving gifts, because I've done this in the past, and a lot of us don't need extra things. And even just saying, I would like to support this organization, and for my birthday, if you could just spend $5-10 giving to this organization. Last year it worked so well. I think I raised about $500 for a puppy who had an eye issue. And it was something that I felt was money well spent because I did not need gifts and physical items. I wanted to support this particular puppy. And the best part of the story is not only was the vet bill paid, but the puppy was actually adopted and is now living a wonderful life in her adopted home. Okay, and of course, it doesn't have to be money. It doesn't have to be time. Well, in a sense, a little bit of time, but it can also be your skills. If you are a web designer, social media manager, photographer, videographer, any of those things and more, I'm sure organizations and causes could use your skills. So think about what skills you have and see if any organizations in your community need that for their causes. For example, I used to volunteer as a translator between English and Thai, Thai and English, for a medical aid volunteer group in Thailand. And that was really a rewarding experience for me. Even though my Thai English, English Thai translation wasn't always the best, we would figure out a way to get it through, whether it be by expressions and body language, and sometimes also an intermediary translation between Thai and Korean. So it was a great experience for me, and I think it's one of the most valuable experiences that I've had in my life. All right, and besides charitable organizations, which are strictly nonprofits, another type of organization or cause which you may consider supporting are social enterprises. So one of the social enterprises which I do support is Kiva, Kiva.org. It is an organization which provides microloans for budding entrepreneurs. It also does provide other types of loans, microloans to entrepreneurs and people in need all around the world. And the concept is these loans are so low in value, but that can help to be seed funding or some kind of funds that the person will then pay back little by little. And Kiva does a really great job. I will link them in the description box below, but they really do a great job of following up and giving you stories about the people that you are helping. I highly recommend. And it's not always necessary to be strategic. It's not always necessary to have this, in your calendar, as I mentioned before, but sometimes random acts of kindness just come along and you help someone who has a flat tire. That is, in a sense, volunteering your time, giving your time to help someone in need. It doesn't always have to be through a charity. It could be to an individual. It could be someone that you know in your community that needs something that you have, or a skill or something that you can provide. It doesn't always have to be something so rigid and through a distinct organization. So I did have a friend who had a personal loss, and through her personal loss, she tried to do random acts of kindness in remembrance of that loss. So just think about how you could do it, and if the opportunity comes up, buy somebody a bottle of water, buy a homeless person a bottle of water, or provide a meal to a homeless person. I've done that on occasion, and it's just been so rewarding to see that. And it's just happened by chance that I came across a person that needed water or food, and I was able to provide that for a very small expense to myself. And it's so important to involve children and youngsters in this idea of charitable giving. I know my friends who have children try to instill into their children the idea of giving and sharing, but also if you are someone in their life, an adult in their life, you can also give them something like a Kiva card where they get to see how microloans work through giving them access to providing microloans to somebody, and give them the idea that the gifts that they give for Christmas and birthdays doesn't always have to be something for them. It doesn't have to always be a toy or money. It could be something that you give that continues giving on to somebody else. And consider the concept of joining forces with other people who also support a similar cause. And as Margaret Mead said, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed individuals can make a change in the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. And this is one of my favorite quotes. All right, and one of the aspects of charitable giving could also be advocacy. I have a friend who's a big supporter of a marine advocacy group, and he not only donates his time, his money, but also actually spreading and sharing information about this organization and what they do on his social media channels and through friends, and it's how I was exposed to it myself. And if you do like this content, do subscribe and click like. It helps me so much with the algorithm. And the last thing that I want to say is do document your journey. Start from where you began and start journaling or document, on this day I committed to this organization. Write somewhere or put in your journal, put in your calendar what you did that month, and see how your journey progresses over time. Did your small habits from where you started build to a larger commitment? And what did that larger commitment or greater frequency of giving, or giving in different formats, how did that impact you? And how did that make your life more meaningful? I think this is something which I didn't really do when I started volunteering and giving back time, because I started volunteering and giving back all the way in high school. It was actually a high school graduation requirement, and part of my clubs and communities was the Community Service Club. And it's something which provides me a greater sense of purpose and fulfillment in my life. Not only am I working and making money and doing the things that I want to do, but some of the things that I want to do also involve giving back to my community, giving back to causes which I value, and it does give back to me 2, 3, 4, 5 times what I give to it. So charitable giving, I hope, will be a journey for you, starting from, maybe today, not having that in your life, and maybe slowly building that into something that provides you a greater purpose, sense of connection, and giving back to others. I do think it is something which is valuable, and it does provide an avenue for societal change. I know that's a big concept, but really, we want the world to be a better place for our children, our future generations, even if you don't have children. And it's something that we need to work together, and not just depend on governments and organizations to do it for us. So that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm going to go ahead and recommend the next video, which is getting in alignment with your values.